Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel where we explore the colorful and fascinating world of English idioms. These phrases and sayings may seem strange at first, but they are an integral part of the English language and are used widely in everyday conversation. Whether you're a native speaker or a language learner, understanding idioms can add depth and nuance to your communication. So join us as we unravel the meanings behind some of the most commonly used idioms and how to use them correctly in a sentence. So let's dive in. Cut corners, meaning to do something the easiest or quickest way. For example, cutting corners on case studies will result in careless errors. It's not rocket science, meaning something is not complicated to understand. For example, just look up the answer online. It's not rocket science. Get the ball rolling, meaning to get started. For example, it's time to get the ball rolling on the 2018 forecast. Up to speed, meaning to be familiar with current information. For example, we have a new team member starting this week. Can everyone help him get up to speed on our accounts? On the back burner, meaning low priority. For example, put that report on the back burner and focus on new business. Back to the drawing board, meaning to start again after a plan or idea was not successful. For example, the client rejected our original concept, so it's back to the drawing board. For the long haul, meaning a long period of time. For example, the new business pitch will be hard work, but we are in it for the long haul. Burn the midnight oil, which means to consistently work beyond normal business hours. For example, our manager is burning the midnight oil to meet every deadline. Change of pace means to do something different from a normal routine. For example, company outings are a nice change of pace from a regular work week. Think outside the box, which means to go beyond a normal idea. For example, stop looking at past examples and think outside the box. On the same page means to have a shared understanding with others. For example, let's all communicate constantly so we are on the same page. Out on a limb, meaning to do or say something risky. For example, she went out on a limb to defend my unconventional strategy. Jump the gun, which means to do something early or before the right time. For example, next time, do more research instead of jumping the gun. Throw in the towel, which means to quit or accept failure. For example, after receiving negative feedback, she was ready to throw in the towel. Miss the mark means to fail to achieve an intended goal. For example, please redo the presentation since you missed the mark the first time. Stay on your toes, meaning to stay alert. For example, there will be random testing on this, so stay on your toes. Raise the bar, which means to raise standards or expectations. For example, the team must raise the bar if we want to win a customer service award. Back to square one, meaning back to the beginning. For example, if we lose our funding for more research, it will be back to square one. Hit the nail on the head, which means to find exactly the right answer. For example, that's what I was thinking. You hit the nail on the head. Cut to the chase, meaning to get to the point without wasting time. For example, stop talking about irrelevant statistics and cut to the chase. Rock the boat, which means to disturb a situation. For example, the team is finally working well together. A new hire may rock the boat. To be in hot water, meaning to be in trouble. For example, my co-worker is in hot water after sending a rude email. Get your foot in the door, which means to enter an organization or industry. For example, a coffee meeting can help you get your foot in the door with prospective clients. Small talk, which means a discussion about everyday topics. For example, the employees made small talk about their weekends while waiting outside the boardroom. Have your work cut out, meaning to have something very difficult to do. For example, she has her work cut out for her when it comes to training the new team. See eye to eye, which means to agree. For example, my boss and I don't always see eye to eye on reporting techniques. To be in the dark. For example, to be in the dark means to be uninformed. For example, the company merger is confidential, so we are going to keep some employees in the dark. The bottom line means the most important part. For example, it may be a good idea, but the bottom line is that it's not profitable. Call the shots. It means to make the major decisions. For example, ultimately, it's the client's choice since they call the shots. Slack off, which means to work lazily. For example, don't expect a promotion if you're constantly slacking off. Glass ceiling, meaning a metaphorical barrier preventing advancement to a higher position. For example, I think there's a glass ceiling because I don't see any room for growth here. Fine print, which means details of a contract that are usually overlooked. For example, always read the fine print before signing a contract. Crunch the numbers, which means to do a lot of calculations or to solve a problem. For example, we'll need to crunch the numbers to make sure we can afford this. Have a lot on your plate, which means to have a lot of responsibilities. For example, I have a lot on my plate since my supervisor quit last week. Learning curve, meaning the rate of gaining experience or new skills. For example, new employees usually have a learning curve. Ramp up, meaning to increase. For example, the team needs to ramp up productivity in order to meet their deadlines. In the red, meaning to be in debt. For example, if my company loses this client, we'll be in the red for months. The ball's in your court, which means to have the responsibility or to take action. For example, we handed off the assets, so the ball's in your court now. Off the top of one's head, which means to know immediately. For example, I can't think of any ideas off the top of my head. I'll have to do more research. Long shot, which means a low likelihood of something happening. For example, it's a long shot, but maybe we can convince our boss to take Fridays off. 24/7, which means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For example, he's in the office 24/7 due to his heavy workload. By the book, which means to do something by law or rule. For example, the company fired the CEO for not doing things by the book. Ballpark figure, which means a rough estimate. For example, if you don't know the exact cost, just give a ballpark figure. Blue sky thinking, which means that ideas are feasible in a perfect world. For example, the manager's blue sky thinking always resulted in unrealistic expectations. Punch a puppy, which means to do something unpleasant. For example, the boss was really punching a puppy when he laid off 15 people. thought shower, meaning to come up with a bunch of ideas. For example, we need a thought shower to come up with new ideas. Close of play, which means the end of a working day. For example, you need to finish the audit by close of play. Peel the onion, which means to look at something one layer at a time. For example, let's peel the onion to figure out where we messed up. Helicopter view, which means a general idea of what's happening. For example, I only have a couple of minutes to chat. Just give me a helicopter view of the report. Fortnight, meaning a period of 2 weeks. For example, she worked day and night for a fortnight to finish the proposal. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful in understanding and using idioms. Remember that practice makes a man perfect, so make sure to incorporate these into your speaking and writing as much as possible. Don't forget to check out my other videos for more English language tips and tricks. And if you have any questions or would like to see a specific topic covered in a future video, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe and take care. Bye. See you.